I'm truly the legitimate daughter who got swapped at birth, making my first night back quite the whirlwind. My conniving sister intentionally shattered a vintage lamp to pin the blame on me, reminiscing about the heartbreaking moments from my past life. Betrayals, a tragic car wreck. Without a second thought, I gave her a push, going on the offensive while bawling my eyes out theatrically. Hey sis, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to. You ain't gonna hold it against me, right? Please? She couldn't possibly believe I'm the clueless, easy target I was before. I'm the real daughter, and Emma is the fake. But since she's been part of the Carter family in Vermont for 18 years, Dad still considers her his own and expects me to call her sister. On my initial day back from the orphanage, Emma was super hyped, hovering around me, even helping with my bag. Honestly, my bag wasn't packed much, but watching her struggle to haul it up the stairs was kind of funny. She acted like it was a ton, typical. Kids who've been spoiled since they were little are just so delicate. Dad watched and grinned, pleased to have two obedient, sensible daughters. Naturally, my sister is the model one. Mia, come check out your room, Emma chirped with a bright grin, linking her arm with mine. She seemed genuinely happy about my return, but this time I didn't miss the sly glint in her eyes. Then a loud crash echoed down the hallway, and the antique lamp lay shattered. Just as Dad was heading upstairs, I felt a sudden yank on my arm and was shoved aside. Emma hit the floor hard, her scream echoing around us. Bad luck for her, sharp glass sliced her palm. Dad saw everything and rushed over, worried. What went down? Emma trembled, clutching her bleeding hand, tears ready to spill. Just as she was about to speak, I cried out, my face as white as a ghost. Sis, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean it. I had no clue there was a lamp there. You wouldn't hold it against me, right? Emma was stunned, clearly not expecting me to confess so easily. In our past life, she set me up. I stubbornly denied any wrongdoing, insisting Emma broke the lamp and framed me. But Dad thought I was at fault, trying to shift the blame while Emma played the victim. He was so let down by me, never trusting me again after that. Everything spiraled downhill from there. I'm sorry, it's all on me. I accidentally broke your lamp. I can't seem to do anything right. Maybe you should send me back to the orphanage. I blinked my big doe eyes, crying pitifully. No, no, Mia, don't cry. Dad quickly tried to comfort me, patting my shoulder. Your sister's okay, just a minor injury. Don't stress, it's just a lamp. We can replace it. As expected, Emma stood there speechless, her hand bleeding onto her dress so clearly. I remembered in my last life, Emma didn't get hurt at all. So this time, she wasn't ready for my pushback. Before her tears could fall, I helped her up, full of apologies. Sister, I'm really sorry. Can you forgive me? I watched her cautiously, and when she didn't respond, I looked nervously at Dad. Emma, Mia just got home and isn't used to everything yet. You need to cut her some slack. Emma's frustration showed on her face, her expression shifting to odd hues. She clenched her teeth. How can I blame you, sis? It was my own screw-up. It doesn't hurt that bad. Of course she was irritated. With her strength and direction, she wasn't meant to get hurt. How did it turn out like this? Why did Dad so easily side with me? Oh, my dear sister, what else can I do? You set this up, so since you say I pushed you, I naturally had to help you out. I took the blame. Letting you bleed a bit isn't too bad, right? After dinner, Emma took on the role of tour guide, taking me shopping and insisting I pick out some new clothes. Mia, this store has awesome fits. All my clothes are from here. You should try some too, she said, eyeing my plain outfits while dragging me into a trendy boutique. The salesperson immediately approached Emma with enthusiasm. Miss Carter, check out our latest collection. Probably because my clothes looked drab, the salesperson glanced at me, but kept her focus on Emma, ignoring me completely. Emma couldn't take her eyes off a limited edition dress the moment it was showcased. You go first, sis, I offered politely. Since it's limited edition, I obviously couldn't compete with her. 2 hours later, Emma was lugging bags after bags of purchases, while I picked out just a few things randomly. Emma tried picking clothes for me, which I politely declined. That's funny, I thought. After what happened, does she really think she can trick me? In our previous life, she chose outfits that were too mature and odd for me, making my first day at school embarrassing. Those clothes don't interest me now. I'm more into watching Emma's antics. When it was time to pay, Emma casually pulled a gold card from her purse. Mia, swipe my card. It's Dad's extra one. Use it. She boasted, giving me a sly look. I held back a laugh and played innocent, pulling out a black card. No need. Dad gave me an extra card too. I can use it whenever. Naturally, Emma's face froze, her expression darkening a bit. She wanted to flaunt her gold card but didn't expect me to have a black one. On the way home, Emma seemed a bit miffed, though I acted like I didn't notice. Being lost for 18 years, Dad's guilt towards me was no small thing. A simple black card isn't much. Can't handle this. The real drama was yet to unfold. A crying kid gets candy. That's something I learned in my past life. Emma had been in this house for 18 years, so she knew Dad's temper inside out. If Emma hadn't messed things up in our last life, Dad and I would have had a much better relationship. He wouldn't have distanced himself from me, doubted me, or thought I was a bad apple. Dad's guilt was a big thing. I would have had a better relationship with him. He wouldn't have distanced himself from me, doubted me, or thought I was a bad apple. Dad's the type who's easily moved by softness, and I inherited his stubborn streak. Dad would see my stubbornness as me being difficult, but if I showed a bit of weakness, along with his guilt over me, Emma couldn't take advantage. She knows how to work it, but so do I. I just didn't want to go there. On the first night of this clash, I won. She just had to swallow her pride. Relax, this is just the start. If we're doing this all over, she'll have to feel what I went through. Time flew, and soon summer was over. Senior year kicked off. Emma seemed to have learned her lesson. She kept her distance. Over the summer, we acted all lovey-dovey. She was a great sister to me and a model daughter to Dad. On the first day of school, I skipped the car ride with the driver. I got to school early by cab, on my own. I mingled with classmates even before Emma showed up. Last time, her head start gave her room to spread rumors. My quiet nature was seen as antisocial, and my style was just plain. Their cold shoulders made me even quieter. My grades tanked from being top 5 to barely making it to college. When she accused me of stealing later, no one believed me. I nearly got kicked out of school. Thinking about all that, the isolation, false accusations, distance from Dad, the car crash that ended it all, gave me chills. When Emma got to the classroom, she acted all buddy-buddy, introducing me like, "This is my sister Mia. She's new around here. Don't pick on her, okay?" A classmate asked curiously, "Wait, your sister? Emma, you never mentioned a sister before?" I glanced at Emma. Her face froze for a second. "Mia was living back home until now," Emma said, sounding a bit shaky. She tugged at my sleeve, eyes pleading. She was scared I'd spill the truth about her being adopted. I wasn't in the best shape, so I'd been schooling back home. Now I've transferred here. Nice to meet y'all. I went along with Emma's story because I promised Dad to keep the mix-up a secret for her sake, as long as she didn't mess with me. Soon enough, it was time for the school anniversary show. The class president encouraged everyone to join in. There's no way Emma would miss the chance to shine. I was busy solving problems when Emma bounced up to me. "Mia, you signing up for a performance?" I bit my lip. "I'm not really good at anything. Just sign up for something. I'll do it for you. It's not like you'll definitely get picked, right? It's just to support the class president." Emma sweetly invited me. "All right," I agreed with a smile. Selection day arrived, and just like last time, I was doing a violin performance. Just my luck. I picked the same piece as the school's heartthrob, Liam. In the past life, I thought she'd sign me up for something easy like singing or reciting. I remember turning bright red, embarrassed saying I couldn't perform. Everyone thought I was trying to stand out, calling me a show-off. The host called my name, this time under Emma's amused gaze. I took the stage confidently, my performance earning all the applause. The teacher even paired me with Liam to perform on the anniversary day. Meanwhile, Emma's solo dance didn't make the cut. As the teacher announced it, Emma's face went from shock to awkwardness, then anger. It was quite a sight. "Mia, when did you learn violin?" "You didn't know, sis. Weren't you the one who signed me up?" I gave her a smug smile, my words pointed directly. Emma was fuming and speechless. A shadow suddenly loomed over me. I looked up to see Liam. Seeing him, Emma quickly changed her expression, intimately holding my arm. "Mia, free after class. Let's practice violin together." Liam's eyes sparkled. Gotta say, his voice is something else. I felt Emma's grip on my arm tighten. Liam and I exchanged numbers, setting up our next practice. After he left, Emma seethed. Mia, I underestimated you, she huffed, storming off. She only knew I was good at schoolwork. She had no clue that after that public humiliation, I spent countless nights crying and practicing that piece. Mia, you're amazing. I'm seeing you in a whole new light. You're playing with Liam. Mia, you're like a goddess to me. Classmates buzzed around, showering me with praise. Being sisters, comparisons with Emma were inevitable. Mia, you're cooler than Emma. You're making our class proud. Stuff like that, I heard it all week. I'd modestly say, oh, you're too kind, my sister's great too, just had an off day this time. After this, Emma and I couldn't hide our friction. She pretty much ignored me on the way home from school. For days, she was in a foul mood. Dad just thought it was typical sibling bickering and tried to mediate. But when she went into the study, they ended up arguing instead. Dad, why are you always taking Mia's side? Just because she's your biological daughter and I'm not, Emma. What are you talking about? Don't think I don't know. You and Mia are just trying to get rid of me. Now that she's back, you both only care about her. I've always treated you and Mia equally. I would never play favorites. You're lying. Mia stole my stuff. She shouldn't have come back. Slap. Emma. I'm very disappointed in you. A long silence followed with no further sounds coming from the room. Emma ran out of the study crying. I stood outside, looking pale with red eyes. Dad. I stood outside, looking pale with red eyes. Dad, I'm sorry. I didn't know she... I lowered my head and asked quietly, should I not have come back? A tear slid down my cheek and fell onto the floor. Dad sighed and patted my head. Mia, don't think that way. Your sister's spoiled by me. Just focus on school. I'll handle it. I didn't know how Dad dealt with it. I just knew Emma had hurt Dad's heart just like I had in my past life. Back then, I was the one getting slapped. I was hysterical too. Emma got back to her usual lively self soon enough. But whenever Liam and I practiced piano alone, Emma would tag along. She claimed it was to watch over me since I wasn't familiar with the place. Whenever Liam showed up, she'd act super sweet and gentle. Honestly, her intentions were pretty obvious. Originally, I just wanted to surprise Emma and make a better impression on my classmates. But Liam showing up was a surprise. I never thought Emma would get so upset because of him. Emma liked Liam, and it was a secret crush. Knowing this, I got closer to Liam. Like every practice, I'd sit really close to him. We'd spend more time practicing together, trying to sync up. I'd even bring him a bottle of water daily. Liam played along too, bringing me milk tea or little snacks every now and then. It felt like he was a gift from above. Each time I saw Emma fuming outside the music room, it gave me a sense of satisfaction. The day of the school anniversary finally arrived. Emma was trying hard to hide her smile that morning. I had a gut feeling she was up to something again. Knowing her usual ways, she wouldn't give me a chance to shine during such an important event, but up until we reached backstage, everything seemed fine. Maybe I was overthinking it. With an hour until the performance, the makeup artist had already finished with Liam and me. As soon as Liam appeared, he attracted a lot of attention. His sharp and chiseled features looked like they were sculpted by an artist. His eyes were cold, with clean and neat facial lines. He seemed like a prince straight out of a comic. I couldn't help but stare. Mia, aren't you gonna change into your dress? The class president's voice snapped me out of my daze. She teased me with a smile. Were you just thinking about the school hottie? Oh, stop it. I was thinking about the upcoming exams. I quickly changed the subject. I admit, I was captivated by Liam's looks, but I didn't have romantic thoughts at all. Hey, Mia, what happened to your dress? The class president exclaimed as she opened the wardrobe, surprised. I froze and quickly pulled the dress out. The originally fluffy tulle dress had its skirt cut into strips. Who would do such a thing? Mia, do you know who did this? Her voice drew a lot of attention our way, and I shook my head, signaling her to lower her voice. This wasn't the time to draw unwanted attention. The hall was filled with school leaders and outside guests. No matter what, I couldn't risk ruining the performance. If I were to guess, it was probably Emma's doing. I had been too careless, thinking she'd have some sense of propriety given the importance of this event, but she just wanted to embarrass me, completely disregarding the school's reputation. What should we do? I asked the teacher, but the backup dress was missing too. With the school celebration already started, the president was almost in tears. For a big event like this, the school usually has backup dresses ready. Emma must have planned ahead, making the backup dress disappear too. The school was too far to run back and change into another dress. I couldn't think of any better options at the moment. If worst comes to worst, I could just cut off the strips and wear it without the skirt, but that would look a bit shabby. Mia, what's wrong? Liam walked over, noticing my worried expression. Liam, there's an issue with the dress. I showed him the shredded skirt. We have about 20 minutes before our performance. Don't worry, leave it to me. Liam gave me a reassuring look and then made a phone call. I have a friend who owns a dress shop nearby. I'll have them bring one over right away. Even though people say Liam can be aloof and hard to approach, he really isn't. Right now, he seemed so warm. The dress arrived in about 15 minutes. It was similar to the original, a white princess-style dress. I quickly changed, just in time for the MC to announce our performance. As I was about to head out, Liam suddenly held my hand. Mia, don't be nervous. I'm here. I nodded with a small smile. Those words were like a warm stream flowing into my heart. The performance went as smoothly as expected. We received thunderous applause from the audience. I watched my classmates cheering for me below, a stark contrast from the mockery in my past life. After the show, I found Emma laughing and chatting in the classroom. The class president saw me coming in looking furious and quickly pulled our classmates out of the room. They also shut the door behind them. I slapped Emma right across the face. That slap is for your lack of decorum. You have no sense of the bigger picture. Mia, are you crazy? Emma held her face, utterly shocked. I couldn't tell if she was more surprised that I'd finally dealt with the mess or that I'd actually slapped her. Maybe both. You know who's really crazy? Emma tried to slap me back, but I caught her wrist in time. Those taekwondo sessions over the weekend weren't for nothing. Besides, I'm taller and stronger than you. After calming down, I went to tell the homeroom teacher what happened. The next day, Dad found out and gave Emma a stern talking to. Mia, it's my fault for not raising your sister properly. Don't blame me. It's tough to change feelings built up over 18 years of living as family, even without blood ties. Dad, don't worry about it. My sister just made a mistake. She'll change. I tried to comfort him, knowing he must be feeling torn. After all, his daughters were at odds. I learned in my past life that while Dad did care about me, the feelings weren't as strong compared to Emma. He felt more guilt towards me, his biological daughter. This matter quickly blew over. Emma quieted down for a while, not really targeting me anymore, as the first big senior year exam was coming up. I remembered in the past life exam results, I got third in the grade and Emma got fifth. Despite Emma's spoiled nature, she was always near the top of the class. But after this exam, she couldn't accept falling behind me. That led to her plotting to frame me for stealing a classmate's diamond necklace. No one believed me at the time, and the classroom's security cameras just happened to be broken, nearly getting me expelled. This time, knowing who Emma's accomplice from the last event was, I had to bring both of them down. Striking first is key. When results came out, I was 10th in the grade. Emma had dropped out of the top 50. Compared to last time, we both slipped down a bit. She was too caught up in our rivalry, neglecting her studies. From being reborn, I forgot how to solve some problems, especially in physics. To improve, I went to the library to research. Liam was there too. I couldn't help but marvel. A top student who was still working hard even as the school's #1. After a polite greeting, we started studying separately. Mia, that jerk. I underestimated her. Emma, don't stress. You'll definitely outscore her next time. How dare she try to steal what's mine? Dad won't help me. And even Liam's mine. Mia can't dream of getting him. Wow, enemies are bound to meet. I came out to fill my water and ran into Emma. She was venting to another voice, which turned out to belong to the class president. Emma had been sabotaging in quiet ways, even managing to swipe the school's spare dress for the celebration. It couldn't have been her alone. Her accomplice could easily access me and the backstage during events. It had to be the class president. Not surprising at all. On the day of the school's celebration, I only suspected. Now the evidence is clear. They wanted to humiliate me, but didn't count on Liam stepping in to help. Based on Emma's determination to get Liam, I realized she's not only a fool, but also delusionally in love. Does she not know being a fool only results in picking wild vegetables? Their chat ended. I quickly slipped out of the pantry and saw Emma and the president sitting at a nearby table. I felt a surge of delight. I grabbed my physics problem set and walked over to Liam. Hey, Liam, could you help me out with this physics problem? He looked up, a faint smile playing around his lips. I admitted I'd maybe sounded a little bit overly sweet, but did he have to stare like that? Help, social death, incoming. Which one? He asked with a raised brow. This one. I leaned closer, pointing it out. I hadn't tied my hair up since I just washed it, and it accidentally brushed against his face. We both froze. To make things easier, I grabbed a chair and moved next to him. I sneaked a quick glance at Emma. She was shooting daggers with her eyes, probably itching to tear me apart, while the class president was quietly advising her. Our eyes met, and the president looked a bit awkward. I cracked a smile and sent a cheeky challenge back. Oops, what could I do? I didn't mean it. I legitimately didn't get the problem. Focus, don't get distracted. Liam lightly knocked on my forehead. Feeling guilty, I looked at him and quickly focused. Oof, caught daydreaming on the spot. Liam explained the problem carefully, offering two methods. One was the standard approach, the other a clever shortcut. As soon as he finished, it all became clear to me. Guess being reborn made my brain a little dull. I used that shortcut method before. On my way out, I felt like Liam was a bit off. He said he'd learned that method elsewhere. When I got home, Emma came straight into my room. Mia, you did that on purpose, didn't you? Emma was clearly unsettled, a bit frantic. 5 years, I totally did it on purpose. I smirked and replied, I stole Dad on purpose, got the spotlight on purpose, got close to Liam on purpose. What are you gonna do about it? You like Liam too, don't you? Emma shot at me, eyes full of anger. I never said that. Mia, I always knew you were just using Liam. I wasn't in the mood to argue, so I just put on my headphones and listened to my online class. I suggest you stay away from him, or else there will be consequences. Huh. So she's declaring war. Great, I'm all for it. I've been waiting for her to come at me. Please shut the door. Thanks. Emma left in a huff, slamming the door on her way out. It's hilarious how Emma is so love-struck. Isn't senior year more about studying than dating? Those love gurus are still picking wild herbs on TikTok. Wise people stay out of love. Lately, Emma's been hitting the library more often. At first, I thought she was there to study, but whenever I check, she's always sitting close to Liam. Of course, I grab every chance I get to ask Liam physics questions. Mia, do you really not understand? Liam raised an eyebrow and asked, all serious. Oops, might have slipped up. I really don't. I nodded like a chicken pecking at grain. Actually, it's only the last big question I don't get. But hey, with a top student explaining stuff, even the easy bits sound exciting. I'm all ears naturally. Isn't this a bit distracting for you? I felt a bit guilty, thinking I was taking up too much of his study time. Liam kept writing but muttered, not at all, just keep working. Phew, good to hear. Seems like my little provocation worked, and Emma couldn't sit still anymore. The next day at the library, Emma was already next to Liam, asking about questions on her test. I just grabbed a random spot and dove into my sea of exercises. Soon I felt someone next to me. Liam, wasn't he helping Emma? I glanced Emma's way. She looked so defeated, rejected. I asked him, what brings you over? She's annoying, Liam said with an annoyed frown. Blunt, much? I suddenly felt a friendship budding between me and Liam. This guy gets me. I find her annoying too. After study hall, Liam and I went our separate ways. Emma caught up with me from behind. Mia, you aren't going to be happy for long. Oh, what do you mean? She pulled out a pen and clicked it. Mia, you did it on purpose, didn't you? Yeah, I totally did it on purpose. You like Liam too, don't you? These words sounded a bit familiar. Sounded just like our chat that night. Oh, a recorder. I knew it was weird for her to come to my room late at night just to fight. She was setting me up, watching her smug look. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. And then, I already sent a copy to Liam. Gotta give it to Emma. That's a smart move. except she totally misread the situation between me and Liam. Oh, he already mentioned it to me earlier. I cleared my throat. He asked me to pass on a message. Bella looked hopeful hearing Liam had something to say. I leaned in and whispered like a devil in her ear. He said you're annoying. Emma was stunned. Her disbelief was clear as day. No way, you're lying. You're lying, that's what he said. Doubt it. Ask him yourself. I shrugged, indifferent. Emma's eyes turned sad. He wouldn't. I swear I heard her heart shatter. Oh boy, a teenage heart got crushed. Actually, Liam didn't say anything before. That message was all me. I didn't do it on purpose, just a little sibling banter. I'm sure Emma won't actually confront him. Miss Carter, stubborn, wouldn't risk humiliating herself. A bit of pride has to stay intact after all. But Liam listened to the recording and didn't mention a thing to me. He must be mad, I guess. I admit I wasn't all pure from the start. I do feel guilty for using the excuse of asking questions to spend time with him. If he asks me, I'll definitely say sorry properly. The next morning, Emma's eyes were red and puffy. Cried all night, perhaps. Makes sense. Dad's on a trip, and she's got no one to complain to. Honestly, it was her choice to cry, so she can't blame me. The whole day, Emma was glued to the class leader. They were whispering, darting to the security office after class. Oh boy, they are plotting something big, huh? I've been anticipating this. Sure enough, a few days later, the class beauty lost her diamond necklace. Apparently, it was her late mother's and worth a fortune. Missing her mother, she always kept it close. That morning it was there, but by lunch, it was gone. The lost necklace caused an uproar. Class beauty, usually so gentle, was really upset and crying. Naturally, our classmates couldn't just stand by. Some wanted to call the cops. Others suggested an internal search first. It's likely an inside job, considering the short lunch break. Whoever took the necklace, better own up. It'll be embarrassing if you get caught. Yeah, owning up now saves face. Once the cops come, we all look bad. The guys were trying to go the confession route. Everyone whispered and speculated about the thief, but no one stepped forward for a good while, leaving the air tense. I glanced over at Emma. She shot me a glare. Seems like she's gotten craftier, not accusing me right off the bat. Doesn't match her usual style, huh? Why don't we check the surveillance footage? The class president suggested. Let's figure this out ourselves without making a big deal of it. It won't look good otherwise. Everyone agreed. Originally, there were 2 cameras in the classroom, one in the front and one in the back. But the back camera had been broken for a while, and the maintenance hadn't come to fix it. A few students, along with the class president, went to the security office to check the footage, but they were told that the front camera was also broken. Oh, great, no surveillance footage, and no one willing to come forward. Maybe we should call the police. A theft this big would definitely lead to a report. The police hadn't arrived, but the school administration did. If this incident got out, it would certainly hurt the school's reputation. The teacher asked everyone for their opinions and decided to check everyone's bags. The lunch break was short, and no one had left the school. If it was an insider, the necklace was likely still in the classroom. Everyone agreed, except me. This is my personal property. I can refuse a search until the police arrive. Instantly, everyone's eyes were on me. From surprised to suspicious, I picked up the phone. I'm going to call the police. Wait a sec, Mia. The teacher quickly stopped me. She pulled me aside, trying to reason with me emotionally. I eventually agreed to the teacher's suggestion but had a demand. I want the real culprit punished so we can clear our names. Given how much time had been wasted, everyone was getting frustrated, and they all supported this. The teacher promised multiple times that justice would be served. Great, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. To everyone's shock, the necklace was found in my bag. The diamond sparkle felt like a slap across my face. After all, I'd just been demanding severe punishment. Everyone's jaws dropped, except Emma and the class president. And me, of course. Emma and the president were the masterminds, but I was just a player in their scene, one I had rehearsed in a previous life. I clearly remembered how Emma stepped forward last time, pleading my case. She claimed I came from a small town, implying I was driven by greed, begging everyone to forgive me. Everyone believed her then, and I, without a defense, was escorted home by Dad, nearly expelled. But now, people were reacting differently. How could it be Mia? She doesn't seem like that kind of person. Mia, is there a mistake? Previously, my life was in shambles. This time, I was prepared. No mistake. The necklace was in my bag, but I can't explain it. In the midst of confusion, I handed the necklace to the class president. But I didn't take it. The back camera can prove it. As soon as I said this, the room was in an uproar. Emma's face turned pale. So did the class president's. Actually, the back camera had been fixed recently. I'd made sure of it by pestering the maintenance office for 2 whole days. The surveillance footage uncovered the truth. Emma had stolen the necklace and put it in my bag. The class president covered for her while Emma executed the plan. They had deliberately disabled the front camera too. The truth was now clear. This whole mess ended before the cops arrived. Not only did Emma destroy the classroom cameras, but she also framed a classmate. Because of this, the school summoned her parents. But Dad was overseas and sent his assistant instead. As the victim, I tearfully apologized to everyone. I didn't know it was my sister. She's never really liked me. I'm sorry for the trouble. My desk mate stood up for me. Mia, it's not your fault. Don't cry. She's treated you terribly. She doesn't deserve to be your sister. Somehow news got out that Emma and I were mistakenly switched at birth. Everyone sympathized with my predicament. Emma and the class president were persuaded to leave the school. They were going to be expelled, but since finals were approaching, they were only asked to leave. This decision made me pretty happy. Emma could never hold her head high again. Her once proud demeanor now resembled a wilted peacock. This time, I won beautifully. I secretly applauded myself. After the incident, Emma never returned to school. She stayed home, studying for her exams. Everything seemed calm, but I knew Emma wouldn't just let it go. In the past, she bullied me repeatedly, leading to my tragic car accident. And now, with her completely defeated, she's not going to give up easily. She's like a cornered rabbit, dangerous when cornered. But I'm the hunter. She stands no chance against me. Dad was disappointed in Emma and warned her to straighten up, or face being kicked out of the house. Emma seemed to get the message and avoided me recently. I knew she resented my presence, thinking I was competing with her for everything. But she might have forgotten. I'm Dad's real daughter. She's the imposter. To eliminate all threats in the previous life, she sabotaged my car. After I was falsely accused last time, Dad took me home and begged the school to let me stay. But since I hadn't done anything wrong, I refused to admit I had. I was hysterical, leading to a huge argument with Dad. He hit me, calling me ungrateful and unrepentant. In my anger, I went back to the orphanage. Uncle, our driver, kindly drove me back, but we got into an accident and we both died instantly, perhaps consumed by injustice. My soul lingered. I learned from the police's report that the car had been tampered with. I knew Emma had done it because she wanted me gone forever. I could never forget the malice in her eyes. To bait Emma into repeating her crime, I mentioned to Dad that I wanted to visit the orphanage. Dad gladly agreed and even offered to accompany me. Emma's eyes lit up with a certain glint. I knew she took the bait. Only by forcing her into a drastic move and fully provoking Dad could I oust her. With the holidays coming up, school had already let out. I'd packed my things to go visit the orphanage. Before leaving, I went to Emma's room. As soon as she saw me, her face turned sour. Mia, what are you doing here? Obviously, I'm here to see you make a fool of yourself. The more miserable you are, the happier I get. She rolled her eyes and snorted. Mia, I admit I wasn't as skilled before, but I'll never willingly give up. That's exactly what I want, for you not to give up. I threw that line at her and walked out, leaving Emma frozen in shock. I want her to make a fatal mistake. I slowly went downstairs and heard her say behind me, I hope you never come back. I knew she probably had someone tamper with the car. In my past life, I never did come back. But this time, the one not coming back should be her. She has no idea. Every move she's making is part of my plan. I thought she'd abandon her plan with Dad in the car, but now it seems it's more than jealousy. Fear of me taking her stuff. She's just naturally vicious. The car quickly left town, approaching the mountain road. Last time, this road was where the driver and I met our end. Thinking about that car crash, a strange chill crept up my spine. and I felt a bit queasy. I clutched my stomach and weakly said, "Uncle, can you stop the car? My stomach hurts." "What's wrong, Mia?" I saw Dad asking anxiously. I intentionally lowered my voice. "Dad, my stomach suddenly hurts. Can you take me to a hospital?" Seeing my cold sweat and pale face, Dad had the driver, Uncle, turn back to the hospital. This time, we're not on the steep mountain road. Even if the brakes fail, it shouldn't result in a fatal crash. Leaning back in the seat, I closed my eyes to rest until there was a loud bang and the car hit the barrier. Warm blood dripped down my head. It hurt so much because of my earlier stomach pain. I'd undone my seatbelt and was thrown against the car door. The searing pain spread through my body. Fighting dizziness, I called out, "Dad, it hurts," and passed out. When I woke up, I was in a hospital bed. The first thing I saw was Dad, who gently touched my head. "Mia, how do you feel? Does your head still hurt?" I gave him a small smile and weakly shook my head. "Mia, I'm so sorry." Dad's voice was choked, as if something blocked his throat. "It's my fault. I almost cost you your life." I wanted to comfort him, but I opened my mouth and nothing came out. He sighed deeply, tears rolling down his cheeks. He seemed to age 10 years overnight. I knew Dad had made up his mind. Emma was willing to sacrifice him to hurt me. Dad wouldn't forgive her anymore. With that weight lifted, my plan succeeded. It was worth eating so much mango. I'm allergic to mangoes, and they trigger gastritis. For this plan, I ate a lot deliberately, just to wait for this moment. This way, I'd miss the crash without a trace and let Dad see her cruelty. I pretended not to know anything and stayed in the hospital to recover. I found a moment to ask Dad, "Why hasn't my sister visited me?" "Mia, don't mention her again. She's not your sister." Dad's tone was more resolute than ever. He must have cut all ties with Emma. I'm sure she won't be coming back home now. Maybe she's been arrested. Staring at the white ceiling, my thoughts were a mess. I'd finally avenged past wrongs, defeating Emma. I should have been happy, but I only felt a tinge of bitterness. For revenge, I became just like Emma. I turned into the kind of person I hated most, using people around me, doing whatever it took for revenge. I hardly recognized myself. If Dad knew I'd baited Emma, he'd probably be disappointed. And Liam? I still haven't apologized to him. There was a knock on the door. I thought it was a nurse coming to change my bandage. I looked up, surprised to see Liam. Since Emma had given him the recording, I hadn't seen him. "Mia, did you do it on purpose? You knew Emma intended to harm you, and yet you deliberately got hurt?" I bowed my head in silence, unsure how Liam knew this. "You got close to me just to upset Emma." I stayed silent because he was right. I couldn't argue. After his questions, Liam fell silent, watching me. His gaze made me feel guilty, and I couldn't meet his eyes. The tension was strange. I had intentionally approached him, and I knew I needed to apologize. "Well, what about me? Do you—" He suddenly changed the topic, his eyes flickering. I stared at him, my heart pounding in my ears. I expected him to be angry, to yell at me. Instead, his eyes were filled with concern. Was he worried about me being hurt? I swallowed, avoiding his gaze. "Mia, you know what I mean, right?" I opened my mouth but couldn't find the words. Liam and I come from different worlds. I was a demon back from hell, scheming Emma to take a shot at me. My world was dark, with no light, not even much affection for Dad. Liam was so good to me, and I still used him without a second thought. "I let myself get used by you willingly. You deliberately got close to me, and I don't care about that. But you shouldn't be messing around with your life. You don't have to respond. I just wanted you to know." Liam didn't wait for me to finish and just let it all out. His eyes were bright and genuine, with a blush reaching his ears. He had deep eyes, like starlight falling into the ocean depths. I felt like a fish at the bottom of that ocean, suddenly seeing a glimmer of light. Inside, countless voices were telling me I should grab that light immediately, even if it might disappear the next second. I remember he once said he wanted to get into Cambridge. I had a thought and smiled at him. "How about we meet at Cambridge?" I heard him chuckle softly. "All right." His voice was low, but to my ears, it was more thrilling than a drumbeat. Emma was sent to prison, charged with attempted murder. It was my dad who personally put her there and cut ties with her. After the college entrance exam, I visited her once, just once. You won, Mia. Emma behind the glass was no longer as proud as she used to be. Her eyes were lowered, never looking at me. I don't know if I've won, but I do know you lost. Emma let out a cold laugh. Yeah, I lost, but I really want to know, how do you always manage to escape? Do you believe in past lives and present lives? Emma was puzzled, not understanding why I'd say that. She surely didn't know that ever since I was reborn, I constantly thought about revenge. All the time, I wanted to repay her for everything I had suffered. Now I've done it. I've successfully driven her out of the Carter family. Mia, I lost not because I'm less capable, but because you always had good luck. Her voice grew louder. Why do you come back and take Dad from me? Take Liam? Steal all my spotlight? It's not fair. I rigged the car, but how did you escape? Why don't you just die so I could be the real daughter of the Carter family? So you wanted me gone so bad, you didn't even spare Dad. He raised you for 18 years. Moments ago, Emma was hysterical, and now she suddenly fell silent. I didn't mean to hurt Dad. I begged him not to go with you, Emma said, covering her face as she cried. But he just yelled at me, said he was afraid you'd be all alone. I had no choice. I asked Emma if she regretted it. She said she never did. Great. Neither do I. Liam extra. The first time I met Mia was at the physics competition in junior year. Back then, she was called Mia and represented her town's high school. I thought I'd easily get first place like last year, but she got it. I couldn't believe she was from a small town, though dressed simply. Her demeanor while answering questions was calm and confident. Her thinking was fresh and interesting, breaking the conventional approach. She reminded me of a sunflower, always facing the sun. The second time I saw her, she was Mia, playing the violin on stage. It was clearly the same person, yet somehow different. Mia's eyes held no warmth, only indifference. She seemed to not remember me. The teacher wanted us to perform together, and I gladly accepted. We practiced violin together, and there was always someone around her. Whenever Emma showed up, Mia would deliberately get closer to me. I enjoyed her buying me water every day, so I'd bring her snacks in return. On the day we performed, her dress had an issue, and I helped her out. I thought we were at least acquaintances by then. Though our performance got a lot of praise, Mia wasn't as happy as I imagined. During the first monthly exam, Mia placed 5th in the grade. Her physics performance was unbelievably poor. I couldn't fathom what had happened for her to fall behind this much. I was in the library doing some research, and Mia came over to ask about physics problems. I demonstrated the solving method she'd used before, but she seemed to have forgotten it all. I began to understand that as long as Emma showed up, she'd become this version of Mia, cold and deliberate. When Emma came to me with that recording, I wasn't surprised at all. I knew she was getting close to me to provoke Emma. I wasn't mad. I actually felt a bit sorry for her. Alone in an unfamiliar place, she had to tread carefully to get her father's attention. No wonder she never smiled genuinely. I wanted to bring back the Mia that was like a sunflower. But she seemed to always avoid me, and for a long time, we never crossed paths on campus. I was busy with the early admission stuff, and often wasn't at school, until I heard about something missing from her class that brought in the school authorities. I rushed back to school. I found a video of Emma messing with the surveillance system and hurried to their classroom. I saw her expose Emma's framing and playfully apologize to her classmates. I knew she was doing it on purpose, but I didn't find her pretentious at all. She was smart, brave, and didn't need my protection. After Emma was expelled, I thought she'd finally be happy. But during winter break, I heard she got hurt and Emma ended up in jail. I was furious and went to see her, wanting to ask why she'd hurt herself. But once I saw her, I felt a bit relieved. Fortunately, it was just a minor injury. She didn't dare meet my eyes and just avoided me. I knew she understood what I meant, yet I was afraid she'd reject me if she spoke. I didn't need a response. I just wanted her to know. But this time, she not only smiled at me, but also invited me to meet her at Cambridge. No matter who she is, I'll be waiting for her at Cambridge.